What is going on, Alpha Hunters? It is a very magnificent Monday. Hopefully, you had a great weekend. And if you had Friday off and you had that extended 4-day weekend from last Thursday, Independence Day here in the States, hopefully you had a good one. So, let's take a look at what's going on across the markets and see where the rotation is, because there is some pretty good rotation out there. SPY, you can tell, not really doing a whole lot. And we did have a little bit of a gap up here, but it was pretty minor, 0.15% or so. You can see we're not doing too much right now. So that means we'll probably bounce 1% by the end of the day, because that's kind of how last week was. We weren't really doing too much in the first hour and a half, and then by the end of the day, we were up by 1% by the end of the day. So it was kind of how last week went. I don't think that would continue on this week, but we'll see. Let's talk about what's coming up on the calendar this week. I have no idea why the calendar keeps it defaulting to the previous week, but that is really annoying. Kind of screwed me up last week. Wasn't really used to that. So we got some auction stuff. Yep, that's not a big deal. We got Red Book. Sometimes that can perk up some things, but not too often. Used car prices. That's actually a pretty good metric to kind of keep an eye on, especially for consumer demand and inflation. Definitely has been a hot topic over the past couple of years after COVID, all the stimulus money, a lot of people buying used cars and stuff like that. But that is a really good metric actually to kind of keep track of like consumer confidence there. As far as other things, we got Fed Chair Powell talking tomorrow, some auction stuff. Treasury Secretary Yellen will be talking tomorrow. I'm not a big fan of hers at all, but hey. So we got Wednesday, Fed Chair Powell talking again. So I wonder if he's talking like the same thing, maybe back-to-back days. EIA, typical Wednesday stuff, auction stuff, Fed talk, more Fed talk. Okay. Then Thursday, jobless claims, CPI. So we get CPI Thursday. There we go. All right, we'll see what CPI comes in at. Jobless claims, yep, that's the typical stuff. We also get more auction stuff, and then we get PPI Friday. So not a whole lot Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There's some stuff kind of trickled in there, but the bigger stuff is going to be Thursday, Friday morning with CPI, PPI. And we'll see what it looks like when we get there. So not too much to kind of worry about before that. Q's doing nada. It did a lot of work last week, not doing really anything today. IWM had a significant gap up today. Significant gap up alert. Yeah, up 0.8% on a gap up. Looking pretty good. Moving averages coming up helps pushing it up higher. Up currently 1.25%. DIA up about 0.5%. Not a huge gap up, but man, look at that run there in the first 5 minutes. So yeah, pretty good run there on the DIA. RSP up about 0.3%. A little bit of a gap up. All right. So that's how these guys are looking. If we see some selling come back in on the market, generally the RSP, already throwing a little bit of an upper wick today. If it sells back down, obviously that won't look good, but it did take out the high from Wednesday. So RSP, you need to see this thing bounce back up to this like 166 level or so, or it's going to be consolidating down here and it might be breaking down. So RSP, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see there. What about the DIA? DIA, looking pretty good. We kind of talked about this at the end of last week. This was looking pretty good. Looking like it had a nice little trend to it. Getting kind of tight in here. Nice little lower hammer there on Friday. Continuing today. Looking pretty good. There you go. IWM. Still just in a really kind of a choppy spot. I got nothing. I'd rather be bullish on the IWM and the RSP than the Qs, but that hasn't been working really over the past couple of months. So Qs, but that's just kind of the way the market is. And this is a market I can't stand. I don't like this market because everybody just keeps putting money into the vending machine and they get 20 cents back, right? They put $1 in, they get the $1.20 back. And I was kind of talking with some people over the weekend, kind of making that analogy. It's like, it's getting too easy. Like big tech is getting too easy on returns, and it's getting to the point where it's just a little too predictable, where people keep putting money into big tech keeps going higher. And not to say that big tech they aren't valuable, but are they this valuable? And that's kind of the question, right? We haven't really seen, earnings take off for a lot of the big tech guys, except for Nvidia, which has kind of gone from an important tech company to big tech. And that's kind of where, the big changes kind of happened over tech over the past like 2 years. Is really Nvidia has kind of said, yeah, we're part of the big boys now. Qs though, yeah, probably due for a rest. Very much 3 strong days to end out last week. SPY, similar kind of spot. Obviously not as strong, but pretty similar spot. Could see them rest here pretty soon. All right, let's take a look at the VIX. VIX. Nice gap up again on Monday. The typical Monday gap up. There you go. Not really too much else kind of going on. It came back down after the gap up. DXY just kind of hanging out, not doing too much today. Okay, so DXY not doing a whole lot. We'll see what happens as the week goes on. GLD, nice little gap down there on the GLD. Wouldn't be surprised if it does kind of pull into like the mid 217 area, kind of like retest lower, and then maybe continue higher, maybe like 218, 217 and a half. Yeah, that'll look pretty good. 10-year yield, a little bit of a higher open. Typically you don't see yields, have a little bit of a gap right there between Friday's close, Monday's open. You don't typically see yields gap like that. So, interesting. Oh, yeah, you can see it right there, that little gap right there. Okay. Anyways, we'll see what happens with yields as we go throughout this week. Okay. 10-2 inversion. Strong move over the previous 2 weeks. Kind of just consolidated, pulling back, consolidating over the past week. So we'll see what happens. HYG, gosh, man, it got right back to the 77.5 line again and just kind of rejected, and that's where it sold down from. Okay. LQD, pretty strong run last week. We'll see if it holds and continues higher here over the next week or two. TLT, same kind of deal. Although this breakdown a little bit more significant, it hasn't gotten all the way back through this breakdown like the LQD has, right? The LQD's basically kind of come back and claimed all of that breakdown that we had from 2 weeks ago last week. So, okay. We'll just have to see how it goes across the bonds and yield market. All right, taking a look at those sector rotations. Oh man, let's see. Man, we got some moving kind of going on today. Industrials outperforming, materials outperforming, tech outperforming, financials outperforming, discretionaries outperforming, and healthcare outperforming. Real estate was outperforming a little bit ago, but just kind of come back down here over the past few minutes. You can see tech actually was doing really good to start the day and has come down pretty well. Let's see, 20 minutes into the market day. It's kind of about where it topped out at. Okay. And then underperformers, we got, real estate, utilities, staples, energies, communications. I'm going to take a look at Alphabet or Meta. One of those two is not doing well. And then we got intraday, we got discretionaries. Looking pretty good there. Materials, also outperforming. Energies, doing pretty good. Real estate, healthcare, outperforming. And then tech's kind of in line with the market there. Industrials, utilities, financials, staples underperforming. And then communications, at the lower end. So you can see tech actually was doing pretty good. And then, I got hit with a little bit of a sell there for about, about an hour long, I guess. So we'll see how things go by the end of the day.